Morning, guys. Thought I'd come out this morning for a little walk and do a little testing on a knife that I picked up a little while ago. Did a little buying, selling, trading, whatnot, saved up some money, and bought a Tops Tahoma Field Knife. This knife is designed by Andy Tran. His channel on YouTube is InnerBark Outdoors. I'll put a link to it down below, along with all the specs on the knife. He designed it, he developed it, and he had Tops build it for him. They now have it in production. So I picked one up. I didn't need another large knife. I have several, all highly capable, but I love large knives, and I love unusual knives. Knives that don't look, knives that aren't carbon copies of one another, you know what I mean? This one caught my eye, and I recognized some of the design features that he put into it. So, in any case, I picked one up. It was delivered a little while ago. I've been using it on and off, and so far I'm highly impressed with it. They said it's made by Tops, comes in a okay ballistic nylon sheath. It's nothing special. I think Tops could probably put some pretty major improvements into this. And the quality itself is okay, the stitching's good. It's not sloppily made, it's not poorly made. Just some of the design. The Velcro straps, I don't like the Velcro. The plastic insert here that the knife rides in seems kind of sloppy. I think it'd be improved by a formed piece of Kydex, but you know, I guess that'd all add to the cost. So I would imagine, you know, they ship this out. It's a good starter sheath, and then you can put it into whatever you want, which hopefully will be happening soon. I ordered one from Godspeed Tactical. Hopefully it'll be here before too terribly long. It should be. But enough about the sheath. This is the Tops Tahoma Field Knife. Like I said, I'll put the specs in the description down below. It is 1095 HighCarbon steel. For the length of the blade. It's a bit over 7 inches. 7 inches from the tip to the top of the handle. It's differentially tempered. You can see that line running through there, through the finish. That's actually the temper line. What that means is the edge, place that takes the edge is harder than the rest of the knife. The rest of it is left softer. Makes it more durable. It has a fault, oh no, it's not a false edge. It has a secondary edge up top here, which is the one feature on this knife I'm still kind of undecided on. I think I could take it or leave it. I don't really need it. But it's there. I've been playing with it a little bit, and you know, it is useful. Got this little notch here. It's very sharp. You can use it for putting a notch in wood, bone, whatever. You can use it for breaking wire. You can use it for hooking underneath the bail of your pot, pulling it off the fire. A lot of people look at this and think of the buck hoodlum, which has major issues with breakage. The hoodlum is tempered through and through. That means the hardness of the steel is the same here as it is here, all the way through. Apparently, in that particular design, it makes it kind of brittle here. So under hard impacts, they've been breaking. Like I said, this is differentially tempered. Hard here, softer up through here. It's not an issue. Tops has been doing this for a long time. Breakage is not a problem for them. what makes this knife really unique is the handle that Andy designed. It's a full tang, as you can see. Steel runs all the way through to the end. There's a little pry bar area down below. It's got some jimping up here at the top, which is pretty useful. But this handle allows for multiple different grips. You can grip this thing back here like this. This is why I have this lanyard set up this way for chopping. You really get some snap on it and chop up here in the sweet spot. And this thing chops like nobody's business. It's almost the same size as my BK7, and this thing chops way better than the BK7. It's unbelievable. So you have this grip here. Move your hand up into a more traditional grip for whatever you need that for, and up again into this finger choil. And what this does, I mean, you can see the size of the knife. It's pretty decent size. It's got a little bit of heft to it. It's not super heavy, as it's only 3/16 of an inch thick. It's not a 1/4 inch pry bar. It's as thick as it needs to be, not any thicker. Like I said, when you've got it gripped back here, it distributes the weight of the blade forward. You can really snap it and get some good powerful strokes. The weight of the blade is balanced pretty much right here at the rear of this choil. What that means is when you choke up into it, the balance point is back here in your hand. It gives this blade a really neutral feel. It really lightens it up and makes it a lot more nimble than the size of the blade would suggest it would be. Andy showed a couple of other grips where you've got your pinky down here into the choil and your hand choked up. I really haven't used this type of a grip for anything yet, but I suppose if you wanted to do some fine work with a tip, this would probably be good for that, as long as you're not having to put a lot of pressure on something. But it's a well thought out design. It doesn't look different just to be different. It's not designed by looks. There's functionality in here. As a one tool option, I would have a hard time not grabbing this. I rarely come out with one tool. This will not replace my axe. It's not going to replace my scoop and bush tool. Those things are fantastic at what they do. But I'm not going to go chopping down a tree with my scoop and bush tool. And I'd prefer not to carve trap sticks or figure fours or any small detail work with my axe. Can they do it? Yeah, they can, but it's not pleasant. I don't enjoy it. This thing, kind of a jack of all trades. So if you're just going out on a day hike or an extended trip out in the woods where you're not going to be cutting a lot of wood, and you want to minimize the amount of equipment that you're carrying, this and a Mora Black, which is a pretty nice lightweight knife, or this one that I've been carrying for a while, little Tops Mini Scandi 2.5. This thing's a little carving beast. I'll save this for another video. I actually got this to kind of balance the Tahoma out a little bit. But enough of me talking. Let's go put it to use. Take some action footage of it. See what it does. See, this part here was pretty punky, went through. This whole inner core is good hard wood. Not much of a challenge for this knife. To split this thing down, I need a baton, right? Alright, I actually I got another piece of wood other than the one that I had chopped through. I just cut this in my saw to save some time. This is actually the same log that I cut the baton from. Really hard. This has a little bit of soft punky stuff on the outside, but not much. And you can see it. It's got a wicked knot running through it. Definitely, probably not something you'd want to use your knife for, right? We'll see. This knife can handle it. A lot of people get down on this knife for this top edge here, for not being able to baton. You can certainly hammer on that if you want to. It's going to really eat up your baton, and it's going to probably dull that edge some, but also do it this way. This pan on this on the back, you've got enough real estate with this blade to do it. Look, if you have to. Came in a little deep on this one. All right. See, it's sinking right down into that knot, splitting without any trouble. Work through it. No trouble, right through it. That's hard on a knife. Not something I would go out of my way to do. There's no chipping, there's no rolling. The edge is still nice and straight. No issues whatsoever. Alright, see how the grain is deflecting the knife. It's putting a lot of stress on that blade. I'm not sure if you can see this or not. If you look how the thick part of the blade wedges this apart, there's no stress actually being put in the edge here. The angle this is coming in at, you can see it biting in here instead of following the crack. Might be a problem. Might not. Again, no chipping, no deformation. It's in perfect shape. Let's try this one. This one's actually thinner. break this one down a little more. See here where this piece, the wood was twisting the blade into the grain, so it wasn't following the split naturally like they normally do. I had to beat on it pretty hard, and it just sheared right through the fibers. You can almost see each individual hit with a baton there. And no issues at all. No problem. I could keep doing this. I don't know that I need to. I know what it's capable of. Interesting thing is I'm doing this, very little to no shock transferred into the hand holding the knife. A lot of shock in this hand. But with this one, it was the same with chopping that stump out. Very little shock transferred into the hand, which is nice. Alright, see how it handles heavier work. How about fine work? You guys pretty much should have known that this was going to do fine for the chopping and batoning. You look at this knife and that's what it screams, what it tells you it's for. But how does it do finer tasks? Well, let's take a look. Let's do some feathering. I'm going to use this log that I just split down. Again, choke up into this troil, and that weight just balances perfectly right here between your index finger and middle finger knuckle. It makes it just feel a whole lot lighter than it should. Choke up in there. I can tell you from doing this in the past that there's really very little wrist fatigue. Some of my other large knives, most of my other really large knives do a fantastic job at this, but it's really tiring on the wrist. It takes a lot out of your hand. You get tired quick. This one does not do that. Just let the weight of the blade work for you and guide it down. You get all sorts of nice fine curls out of this thing. Put a little pressure on it. Cleaner corner to work on here. Show you some really fine curls. I said, until you try it, I really wouldn't think that this thing would be easy to handle. I'm gonna have to take my word for it about the comfort. I haven't really done much to this edge other than touch it up. I cleaned it up some, sharpened it. I didn't really take a whole lot of material off. But it stays good and sharp. Tops did a hell of a job with the heat treat of this 1095. Now, do my smaller knives do a better job at this? Yeah, probably. A little bit, maybe. Maybe it's just because I'm more used to them. This does a fantastic job. Just compare it with a mini Scandi. This thing curls like crazy. Fresh piece. Yeah, the grind, this is a full Scandi grind, and the size make a small Scandi knife like this, or the Moras, or whatever, superior for this kind of thing. But for a blade this size, I would have no problem going into the field with just this on my hip. And being able to do any of these fine kind of carving tasks. Not perfect. I'd like to have something else along to help me out with that, but it's definitely capable of it. Again, choke up into there, put your thumbs in, and really do some fine controlled cuts if you're doing notches, tent pegs, trap sticks, tripods, you know, shelter building, whatever you're going to do. Blade's more than up for the task. I should do one of those, the heck do they call them? The Morris Gahansky Truth Sticks. You carve all the different shapes. I actually never tried one of those before with anything. Give that a shot. Alright, I'm just about out of battery, and dummy me forgot to bring extras. Alright guys, I gotta cut this a little short. I got the most of what I wanted to do. I said I forgot to bring a spare battery for my camera, and it's just about ready to run out of juice. You can see that this thing is a very capable chopping tool. Obviously not as good as an axe, but better than a knife this size has any right to be. And that has everything to do with the design of this handle. The ability to choke back, get that wrist snap in there. You can do a lot of work with this. Splitting, batoning, not an issue. That was a pretty hard piece of wood. It had a ridiculous knot in it. You saw the grain was all curved up. It's not good for a knife to do that. You know, I only did that to show you what it's capable of. It's completely unaffected. You can absolutely baton with this, even though it's got this extra edge up here. I don't get to show you notching with this, but you know, it's kind of self-explanatory. Find a piece of wood. That wasn't a very good example. Its outer stuff's punky. I gotta quit screwing around. My camera's gonna die. But you can, like I said, you can run notches into wood, bone, whatever you need to. Use it to pick the pot up off the fire, brake wire, whatever. I showed this in another video. This hole here is also good not only for securing a small lanyard through, but if you wanted to disassemble a bullet for fire starting. Like I said, I showed that in the previous video. You insert your bullet here, wrench the casing back and forth, it'll release the bullet, pour your powder out, get your fire going. It's got a second lanyard hold back here, again, pry bar, which I have yet to use for anything. The finish is a clear Cerakote, some sort of a high-tech ceramic finish used for firearms. It seems to be completely unaffected by everything that I've done to this knife so far. It's definitely some tough stuff. Is this knife perfect in my eyes? No. Talked about the sheath briefly. That is not what I want for this knife. Like I said, it's a decent starter sheath. You can upgrade from there. This area here in the choil, I would have preferred had they taken some time to radius these corners. They're not sharp by any means. They don't cut into your hand. They don't dig in. And I really haven't developed any major hot spots, but it would be a whole lot more comfortable if these were rounded over here. I may do that yet. I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to see that come from the factory that way. My other complaint is there is nowhere on this knife other than the edges, the edge of the blade, to strike a ferro rod. That bugs the crap out of me. I thought about taking this down and sharpening the spine, but I don't know how it's going to react and how it's going to hold up, since, like I said, this is differentially tempered. This isn't a solid hardness from edge to edge. It's softer up here. They do that for a reason, and I'm glad they did, but I don't know how it would hold up to sharpening the spine up. If it'd dull up on me quickly or not. I'm going to have to contact Tops about that, but I really wish this had a place to strike a rod on. I know it's silly. I've got other knives on me. In an emergency situation, I'll use my edge if I have to. That's what I got. That's what I'm going to use. Maybe I'll use this one, but I don't really use for much anything else at this point. But I like to have a sharp spine. So those are my major complaints. Oh yeah, it's got bow drill divots on either side of the Micarta handles. I have not yet tried those. All in all, do I like the knife? Yes, immensely. Better than any of the other large blades that I have, with the exception of my Bussy Battle Mistress, which I like for completely different reasons. That thing's just ridiculous. But as a field knife, a woods knife, a belt knife, a one-tool option, or as part of a three-piece kit, this blade is absolutely fantastic. I'm very impressed with it. I'm impressed with the build quality from Tops. and I'm impressed with the design work from Andy Tran. Kudos to both of them. A couple of areas that I'd like to see improved, but nothing's perfect. And this is something that can easily be done yourself. That's it. That's my take on the Tops Tahoma Field Knife. I really like it. I'm going to be using it a lot this summer in conjunction with this mini Scandi, which I'll do a video on sometime in the future. Next video, Magnus, is going to be L&F Prodigy, like you've been after me to do. I promise I'll do it. I'll do it before I send the Prodigy down to Justin for the Sheath. I will get that done for you. But yeah, good knife, great design. If you're in the market for a big knife, or you just like big knives like I do, or you're still wanting to try out that whole one tool option kind of thing, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic tool. Alright boys, that's it. I think my battery's about shot. Surprised it let me get away with this long. So, take care. See you next time.